Today on Faithfully Fantasy.
Question here, because it took me a while to work out why Dane's dad let him choose his own squad. He didn't want Melgren to know about this. He didn't want to look like the bad guy. Dane's dad knows about the venom. The other thing that caught my eye when Tern says they've created abominations, Violet says, "Did you know?" And Tern says, "I speculated." That means that when Naelin died, in the original war, there were no Wyvern.
Yes.
I think Liam's family, I think the Mari family, the father owned
the mines. If they had a crest, they had to be really important family. Duke Lindell as well. I think that maybe that has to be a connection as well.
So I'm going to take the theory a bit further. Go right back to chapter 2, I think, when she crosses the parapet. Mm-hmm. She is saying things to calm herself down. We learn at that point that poor Emil has unique crystalline gems capable of amplifying minor magics. That is what they are mining. Those crystalline gems that are capable of amplifying minor magics will 100% come back.
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things fantasy fiction.
Join us as we go on to what it was my first read through of Fourth Wing.
You finished!
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
A long dragon ride.
Tell me about it. But like every journey comes to the end, and this one is no exception.
I can't wait to hear what you think.
Yes, but before that, should we start with the summary?
The recap, yeah. So, if we remember, the Marked Ones and Violet are standing in an abandoned outpost in the mountainous border of Port-Emil and Navarre. Liam and his go-go gadget vision sees Venin literally appear out of nowhere at the gates of the Poromish village. They're after something in the clock tower. More on this later. Xaden has the choice of abandoning the village of the enemy or abandoning command of his wing, who are waiting for him at El Tuval for the final test of the war games. Xaden gives them the choice, but they are riders, and riders fight. Xaden is commanding the riders, but Tern is the boss in the air. The squad are trying to get the civilians into the mine when Wyvern appear. Wyvern! The Venin created abominations that feast on children if they don't eat their vegetables. One Venin channels from the ground, draining the colour from the land, and Soleil and her dragon can't outrun it. They decimate in a matter of seconds, their bodies shrivelling. But what's that? Something explosive with Liam's family crest on is casually stored in a side building. Is Tern thinking what Violet is thinking? Well, of course he is. Boom! But as if they told her, only daggers would kill the Venin. The Venin walks away without a scratch. Back in the air, Liam's red dagger-tailed Day flicks him onto a wyvern's back before he slits the throat of the Venin. The wyvern falls, and Liam leaps back onto Day's back. But Day immediately gets locked in a fight with another wyvern. A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without its dragon is dead. Liam screams, Day falls. Liam uses his last words to tell Violet to hear Xaden out and to promise to look after his sister next year. He's been her shadow, he's been her friend, it's been his honour. Liam is gone. I've got goosebumps. Violet is filled with rage. She is violence. She will have her revenge. Lightning hits the wyvern and falls from the sky, but she doesn't see the one coming from the left until she hears Tern's roar of pain. I'm going to cry. There's a Venin on Tern's back. Violet releases the straps of her saddle, tells Tern to stay level, and stands to face the moving, flying parapet. The Venin is adapting to her moves and stabs Violet's arm until she feels her arm break. They do have time for a quick info dump, though. The Venin tells her she has such untapped power. No wonder they were called here. She could command the sky to surrender all its power, and she bets Violet doesn't even know what to do with it. Riders never do. She tells Violet she will wish for death if she hands her over to her sage. The Venin is a damn student, and she has Violet so lethally unmatched. Level the playing field, orders Xaden, as his shadows wrap around them, plunging them into darkness. But Violet has the power of light, and she is the one in control. She distracts the Venin with a flash of lightning before plunging the runed dagger between her ribs. Half of the Wyvern fall, and Violet finally figures out what Liam was trying to tell her. Kill the Venin and their Wyvern fall. There are 2 Venin left in the horde that Xaden is almost burning out to keep behind his shields of shadows. If Xaden has ever trusted Violet, she needs him to do it now. She needs him to let the shadows fall. Xaden is burning out. Sigale shouts for Tern. The wall of shadows falls, and Wyvern fly towards them with terrifying speed. Andana can help. She wants to help, so Violet reaches for only what she needs of Andana's golden power, and it spreads down her spine, time pausing around them. She feels Tern's power pushing the boundaries of her body, but she is not Naelin. She strikes lightning and yanks the branch sideways in its descent, inch by inch with the last of her strength, positioning it over the Venin. Tern roars, and Violet is focused on vengeance with a coldness that would make even her mother proud. Finally, the lightning strikes the Venin and kills it at first touch of its energy. There's 1 Venin left on the back of a Wyvern. Xaden throws a rope of shadow, grabbing it by the neck and pulling him downward, right onto the dagger he holds in his outstretched hand. Knowing they will all live, Violet lets gravity claim her body and slides from Tern's back. Violet is in and out of consciousness when she sees shimmering gold rising and ebbing around her. Andana has stopped time with what little energy she has left and is attempting to break her fall. She's got her, but is still falling because she's too small. When time starts again, she is in Xaden's arms, and he's ordering her to fight the poison. She needs a healer, but Nolan is a 12-hour flight away. There is somewhere closer, but Garrick tells Xaden he will put everything at risk taking her there. Xaden doesn't care. They're going, and that's an order. Live up to your nickname and fight this violence, he whispers as she fades into blackness again. They fly over the cliffs of Draelor and arrive at their secret destination. Tern will cook Xaden alive if he fails. Xaden kisses her forehead, but that can't be right. She deserves to die. She's the reason Liam is dead. She feels so weak-minded that she didn't even realise that Dane took her memories and used them against her, against Liam. She hears a familiar voice she can't place, and Xaden tells the stranger, "You have to save her." At this point, I'm going to hand over to you to do chapter 39.
So I go with chapter 39, the Xaden's point of view. That's why we make this change as unusual. But chapter 39. In the days since Violet fell unconscious, Xaden has been overwhelmed with guilt and worry. Despite his hardened exterior, he is haunted by her fragile state and the memories of their shared trials. Xaden blames himself for not protecting her from Colonel Aeto's punishment, a crime she didn't even know he was committing, and for the death of Liam, his foster brother, who died trying to keep Violet safe. As Xaden battles exhaustion, As Xaden battles exhaustion, he is tormented by nightmares of Violet, pain, and anger. He reflects on the moments he felt for her, from her victory in the gauntlet, or her first defense of Andana. When Violet finally awakes, relief flows through him. Though he's terrified she might have lost her memories, he checks her side, expecting to see black tendrils or infection, but finds nothing. Miracles. Do that one again.
I'll do it again. Just be slow, because you can't, it's like really hard to understand.
Yeah. He checks her side, expecting to see black tendrils of infection, but finds nothing, miraculously. Violet resurging, she is fine and remembers everything. When she learns they are in Arethia, a place she recognizes as being rebuilt in secret, her sharp mind quickly pieces together the situation. Oh, that one sounds weird. Is that right?
Her sharp mind quickly pieces together the information, the situation, yeah.
A place she recognizes as being rebuilt in secret, her sharp mind... A place she recognizes as being rebuilt in secret, her sharp mind quickly pieces together the situation, the secrecy of their location, the hidden rebellion, and the limited knowledge even the powerful Milgrim can force him become clear. As Violet gets dressed, Xaden leaves to check on their comrades, Buddy and Gary inform him about the survival of Serena and her sister, but the loss of the others weighed heavily. They also discuss a mysterious box from Reason, which remains unsolved. When Satan returns, he is struck by Violet's beauty and determination. She questions him about his intentions, and despite agreeing to fight by his side, makes clear she doesn't fully trust him yet. Satan admitting his secrecy, but affirming his love, promised to tell her everything she wants to know. Their conversation is interrupted by someone that Violet thought she lost time ago. Try that again. Their conversation is interrupted by somebody that Violet thought she lost time ago. Her big brother, Brennan, who reveals himself at the door. Brennan only says to Violet, "Welcome to the revolution."
Yay! You finished.
Yes, that was the end.
How did you feel? Oh, we'll get to that. Shall we
Yes.
go straight into 36? Because I just can't wait to hear what you think.
Yes, no problem. So let's go straight away to chapter 36. So, man, I have to say, chapter 36 was a hard one to read.
Oh, Liam.
Yes, that was like one of the shocking moments.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but the only reason I think was because I was reading and our kids, they were playing next to us and they were constantly like asking me things. Mm-hmm. So I was constantly interrupted.
Wasn't a great time to be reading. You couldn't stop.
But yeah, I had to say that, that was hard to read.
Yeah, I think there's teardrops marks on the pages of my book.
Yes. But okay, if we start from the beginning, we said that, yes, if Colonel Athos knew everything the Satan was doing, then they were being sent by a death sentence, because we get to the conclusion that Dane stole Violet's memory, and then Colonel Athos was the one who planned everything, just to make sure that all the ones that Satan will carry on with him, that he was expecting, there's gonna be all the ones with the rebellion relic, it will be together and they will die.
So, question here, because it took me a while to work out why Dane's dad let him choose his own squad and there was no rules and they could have more than 3 marked ones together. I couldn't understand that, and then all of a sudden it hit me that he didn't want Melgren to know about this because he didn't want his plan. He didn't want to look like the bad guy.
Yes.
So he deliberately let them do that so that Melgren didn't see what happened, because Dane's dad knows about the Venin. And this is another hill. I'm dying on all my hills. But this one, Dane's dad knows about the Venin.
Yes.
And he didn't want Melgren to know that he had exposed them like that.
Yeah, that's interesting point of view, because I always thought that he was just thinking that he was being the smarter one and was committing like a really silly mistake. But if he was planning already that he didn't want Melgren to find out what he was doing, and he was doing everything in a really dodgy way for everyone, not only for the cadets, as well for the people above him.
Also that I know that they're Poromish, but the people of Resin is a trading post. Despite the war, we learn that they're still trading.
Yes.
I know that Navarre has deer and I don't know what, wood, timber, and Poromil has materials maybe and stones and things, precious stones. Yeah. So they've put that whole that trading post at risk. Dane's dad.
Yes.
And also put the cadets at risk. And if you think about it, has put the general's daughter at risk as well.
Yeah.
And there was a good chance that he knew that he would take Violet. But I don't know if he did.
Yes. But it was a reckless movement, I think, because Satan is still one of the most powerful riders. Violet, right now, she can't control her signet, but she will be one of the most powerful riders. She will be like the weapon for the kingdom. And if Violet is part of the army, then they will be invincibles. And they just Colonel Athos is throwing all of this away he might think that he has his reason that Satan is betraying the kingdom.
That's exactly what he thinks, yeah.
Yes, but still, Satan carries a lot of things because carries his signet, carries a girl. That's one of the most powerful dragons that they have. So, unless he thought, okay, there's no chance that this guy is going to work for us, at least not like legally or because he wants to. So better keep it dead.
Yeah.
Against us.
One thing I still don't understand is how... So Dane only got the word Athbine.
Yes.
Because he took it from Violet and not Xaden. So he didn't see him go there. He didn't see why.
Yes.
How did Dane's dad all of a sudden know that they were taking something to... I know that it's on the border of Poromil, but it doesn't exactly tell you that he's a traitor, does it? It tells you he flew to Athbine.
Yes.
Maybe there's no other reason why he would have flown to
has to be maybe some information that he has that we don't about... I don't know if it's going to be the type of weapons that he has, and maybe he thinks the only way that they're getting this kind of weapons is from Basquiat or from the army, from the king. So they might think that...
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, that's true. So there is a forge at Basquiat.
Yeah.
And obviously he's putting two and two together.
Yes.
They need something called a luminary, which creates light, which we'll come back later. But yeah.
Yes. But again, it was basically his decision. I don't think he consulted with anybody. Definitely no with General Sorango, unless I don't think so.
Oh, that's interesting. You don't think she knows about it?
I think maybe she knew what's happened. No, before it happened.
Okay.
So and I'm still thinking.
Yeah, you find out when you read Iron Flame. It's fine. You find out all about it.
But yeah, so I found it really curious that Colonel Athos was doing like all this kind of stuff. At the same time, he was putting Satan in a test. So Satan has the option just run away or stay there and fight. Sagel said that she never ran a fight before. That wasn't gonna be like the first day. And everyone is out here to show what kind of riders they are. And they are definitely with this rider mentality. They are there to protect the people. They are there to protect the people who need help. And for that, there's no question about it. They're going to die as a riders. And they're expecting...
She's even saying goodbye to Andana, isn't she? She's like...
Yes, so Violet, she has this thing because her name, nobody from... I think maybe as outside from Basquiat, I think the Azoran girl is going to give that more importance for the people who are suffering because...
Yeah, but we find out Brennan does. Well,
yes,
imposter Brennan. I don't believe it's actually Brennan.
Yeah, that's another topic to talk about. But Violet wants to prove to everyone, and probably to herself as well, that she is a rider, and she knows what she has to do it, and she's going to do it. And yeah, she basically tells Andarna, you are too young to fight, but if something happens, you will know. And then I expect you just to go back to the Vale, put yourself safe. So it was pretty much a goodbye moment from everyone. Everyone was thinking that, yes, there's no chance they're going to survive this. They're going to try to do as much as possible to save all the people possible.
Yeah. So just before you move on from that piece, there was some really good goodbye moments or affirmations that they wanted to fight. So you mentioned that Sigale has never run from a fight. Bodhi wouldn't mind seeing his mother anyway. That's really heartbreaking. Liam's, though, was the one that stood out to me the most. We watched as our parents were executed because they had the courage to do the right thing. I'd like to think my death would be just as honourable. And his last words are, "It's been my honour."
Yes.
And that's the one that's like a little bit of foreshadowing. I'd like to think my death would be so honourable, but you wouldn't read that thinking he was going to die because he's such a key character. And we've fallen in love with him, and then he's ripped away from us.
Yes, I have to admit, Rebecca Yarros, with this character, she makes sure that you're going to like it,
really
you're going to
like
love
it.
it,
Yeah.
and then you're going to feel it more
Yeah.
when you see it die.
There's one more affirmation. We will feast on their bones, silver one.
Yes.
I like that. And Violet has a kind of realisation at that point, doesn't she, that their parents died to expose the truth while hers sacrificed her brother to keep the heinous secret.
Yes.
Yeah. And they did sacrifice a brother because, one, he 100% died and he was resurrected, or somebody is impersonating him.
Yeah.
And regardless of whether he did die or he didn't die, the parents, her mum thought that he was dead. So she did sacrifice him. Or maybe she didn't, but it's interesting how she lumps her dad in with that statement. So she said, their parents died to expose the truth while mine sacrificed my brother to keep this heinous secret. She lumped her dad into that as well because she said my parents, not my mother. So
Yes.
at this point, she knows her dad knows because of the cryptic note that he put in the book.
Yes.
But also, she's thinking that he's on the wrong side. I've got a suspicion that neither his mum and dad were on the wrong side. I think they were trying to do something from the inside.
Yes.
But then her dad went to Lulu, but anyway.
I think the problem is the parents, they were in such a high position already. They knew that if they do something that could be suspicious, then the whole family will be in danger.
Yeah. I don't know that her dad was high ranking. I think he found out, whereas if he'd have been high ranking, he'd have already known. We don't know that, but that is the one reason, the one question I would ask Rebecca Yarros is what rank was Daddy Sorrengail? Because one, I think there's a clue. I think he must feature in the epigraphs. He must have written a book, so that rank could give us a clue of who he is. But I also think that would tell us when he knew. I feel like that one question would give us quite a lot of information.
True. But for me, what I'm thinking, if Lilith Sorrengail, she's a general, I'm not thinking that she will be with somebody that's going to be such a lower rank.
Why not?
And
You get that all the time. You get...
Yeah, but I'm thinking that they met kind of in the same situation. So maybe they start from the bottom and they start to
Yeah.
having a higher rank. But I'm expecting that if it's not kind of the same level, just below, like something.
But he might have wanted a different career path, like not a leadership career path. Just like Violet, she's got very little. She's a natural leader, but she doesn't put herself forward for squad leader. She doesn't put her hand up in that the challenge when Imogen.
The thing is, when I see like Lilith's personality, I see it as a really strong woman, a woman that she likes to take decision, a woman that she knows exactly what she wants, how she wanted, and she suffered a lot when she lost her husband. So I'm expecting that because she loves him that much, it's because they had kind of very similar personality and maybe like helping each other and pushing each other.
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this because I think that you could have a very ambitious woman who wants to rise up the ranks of a company or of a military, and you could have a man who has he was very ambitious, but ambitious in a different way. Like wants to be the best scribe on the working level.
The scribes have ranks as well.
They have ranks, but you don't just because you're you've got a high ranking title, it doesn't mean you're the best.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, sometimes it can mean the opposite. But yeah, I don't know, and I'd like to know the answer. I don't think he was a general.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. We might find out one day.
Yes. Hopefully maybe Onyx Storm.
Yeah.
Yes, but and this is scene when we see the cadets looking while it's coming. Liam is the first one to say, if those are the thing that I think they are, we are fucked. He starts to see from the distance their four Venin coming to reason.
Do you think he says they just appeared, so obviously they can just disappear and appear somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if they can do a long distance or it's just like teletransporting, jumping distance.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing I wanted to say just before that is that he describes the Venin's eyes. So
Yes.
Liam describes the Venin's eyes as distended veins. Have you noticed on the front cover of Onyx Storm, you have like what looks like at first glance a sun on either side? Well, actually, if you look really closely, it's like a blob, like a iris and a pupil.
Like two eyes
With
veins.
yeah, what looks like the sun rays is that actually looks like veins coming out of an eye.
No.
So, yeah, looks like a
Maybe
Venin reference.
Yes, maybe we're going to find out a little bit more about the Venin and all the people involved.
It's super clever though, because also Violet's got the power of light. Everyone thinks she has light. She's a lightning wielder, but she's not. She commands the sky. She's got the power of everything in the sky. I am sure of this.
Yeah.
Because even in this bunch of chapters, she says, "I have the power of light."
Yeah.
And you don't. Lightning isn't just the power of light, is it? You got. I think she's the power of the sun as well. And it's clever because you look at it at first glance, you think it's the sun, and then you look at it again, and you're like, "Hang on, is that a Venin eye?" That's very clever.
Yes. The other thing that caught my attention is when Liam was describing these beings, Satan is the one who say, yeah, pretty much is, I think you're right, they're Venin. So it's like he knows. So I don't know if he had contact with this Venin before, or if was his dad the one who told exactly how they look, so he can keep an eye if I see somebody with that description.
There's a few things that we find out about Xaden here, but not enough. So there's something where it says, yes, you're right, that sounds like Venin. So obviously he, like you say, he's encountered a Venin before. But there's something, I can't exactly remember what the flyer says, but the flyer says, makes reference to another town. And he says, I know where that is.
Yeah.
So he's definitely got links to Poor Emil, whether that's his mother. His mother could have been a flyer. I want to get this. I am going to do a video soon on Xaden's family tree because it's
really interesting one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think there's something that Xaden isn't really saying, which isn't surprised because he's king of secrets, isn't he?
Yes, definitely. But to make the stuff and this scene more complicated, obviously to see they're going to go through a real challenge. We see the flyers coming to them. We had this the older brunette from the lake. She just come to tell them that they can leave because she knew this was on the run and this post, they shouldn't be empty, they shouldn't be there. And they see there's 4 Venin coming, and she's the one who tell them there was just 2 of them last month, and just with 2 destroy a whole city. So 4 of them is just impossible to think they're going to do something. Plus none of them have been in a real fight. They've been sparring, they've been practicing, but this one would be like the first real fight when they could die. So there's no experience, but they just don't care. They know what is the right thing to do, and they just jump in to do it.
At that point, I love Imogen's. She's rationalizing it in her head, isn't she? She's saying, we have air superiority.
We have dragons.
Yeah, and then when they see the wyvern, she's like, fuck them, they can die too. She doesn't care.
Yes. But it's everything. It's like an apocalyptic moment here. We have for Venin coming, when they just tell them the two of them are able to destroy a whole city. Then we had the wyverns, and it's a few of them coming as well. So it's everything against them.
Yeah.
So I think in this moment is when you start to focus on what's going to happen, because it's like you start to feel that this is going to be tough.
Gonna end badly.
Yeah, somebody's going to have something here.
So can we talk about wyvern for a bit?
Okay, something specifically.
Yeah, so wyvern have 2 legs and not 4. So on the ends of their wings, they have extra like claws, so they can walk
like
along.
a vat, basically.
Yeah, like all the dragons. So in Harry Potter, the dragons are actually
Wyvern.
how Rebecca Yarros describes wyvern.
Yes.
But what gets me is they're grey, all grey, which already kind of shows you that they're
That maybe,
uniform.
or-
Yeah, but grey, Violet's grey hair. There's lots of references to grey. But there's the thing that strikes me is that they describe them as massive, and their dragons are massive. So
They're bigger
if
than
they're
dragons.
saying they're massive, that means they're even bigger than dragons. They also have poisoned barbed tails. So they have like maybe a morning star tail or I don't know, spiky tails, but each of them they've got poison in them.
Yes.
So their venom have created these things that Ten describes them as abominations, but they sound terrifying. They breathe blue fire, they're fireproof themselves, they're really hard to kill.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really interesting, but at first sight they mustn't look too different to dragons from far away, because Mira, do you remember Mira Montserrat? She says, I could have sworn I saw a riot of dragons across the border, but they weren't, they were wyvern.
They were wyverns, yes. Which I found it interesting, because it's going to be maybe from the point of view, because I think you will be able to tell if I have 4 legs or just wings, because I think these wyverns, when they're flying, they're going to be really different to a dragon. Because the dragons have 4 legs and then the wings coming from the back.
Yeah.
But this wyvern is more, like a bat. So it's just wings and the head and the front.
The other thing that caught my eye when Ten says they've created abominations, Violet says, did you know? And Ten says, I only speculated. I speculated. That means that when Naelin died, I'm doing inverted commas.
Wink, wink.
In the original war, there were no wyvern. So 6 years ago, there mustn't have been wyvern.
But no, they are.
Yeah, or not, at least not in that fight, because Ten had never seen a wyvern. He speculated, and that's why he was making her do so many difficult flight maneuvers in training.
Yeah, he knew what was coming, so she was preparing Violet for that as well. But then that's the question as well, because one part, all this war has been happening for centuries. So we had the Venins and the Wyverns as well. But then when Brennan died and Naoline died trying to resurrect her as well, just want to know, like, something happened, like there was a boom with the Venins or the Wyverns. They're like, something happened that made these creatures be more like stronger, or something happened that they even turn. It was preparing for something worse coming, because I mean they've been like for centuries, and so
all
far
of a
nothing
sudden.
happened, and then like from Brandon Days, like everything's go like
worse. And Wyvern obviously have existed for years because they've been in the fables.
Centuries.
They've been in the fables. So, there's something weird there. And then because it says the sky is, at some point in the next few pages, it says the sky is full of dragons and griffins and wyvern, just like the creation fable.
Yeah.
So they've been around for hundreds of years.
Yes, because of what exactly happened. So after the unification, there's supposed to be, that was the last time the griffins and dragons, they were fighting together against the wyverns. But I mean, they never beat them. They just create the walls to protect themselves, and then that's it. That was the solution, and then we won. And
Poromiel, Poromish citizens to die, basically, and that's what's so terrible about it, is that they created the wards, they protected themselves, but the barons were getting closer. So the Venin were getting closer to Poromiel.
Yeah.
Then Poromiel started to raid Navarre because they wanted what would protect them. They wanted to protect. And they were angry. They'd helped Navarre enough, and now Navarre had basically just left them to die, which is why Violet's so angry with her mother and so angry with leadership, the history, because they essentially were like, we're fine, you can die.
Yeah, they don't care about anybody else as long as they are protected by the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, everything is set up here in this scene to something terrible is going to happen, and we highlight the first person to die here. There was Soleil. I still not getting exactly how it dies, because I can see it kind of like transforming like a statue or something. And
no, I think what happens is I could see it quite vividly, or I could imagine it quite vividly.
Mm-hmm.
The venin lands on the ground and she starts to channel. So the earth around her, the grass around her turns brown and or maybe grey, because everything's grey. I think it says brown. And it spreads out from her, and Soleil can't outrun it, so she's too slow. And then I think she basically sucks the life out of Soleil and her dragon, and I can't remember what her dragon's called, but she would just basically shrivel. I think she's sucking the life out of her. She would shrivel, turn grey, and then just basically flop on the floor. This whole scene is really awful. The mention of the child stumbling, the child's running away, she stumbles on the dirt road, the dad scoops them up, like, it's just awful. Just a war scene. And they're trying to get the civilians into the mine. So they're just protecting the townspeople. And you can see this in the TV adaptation being a really scary moment. Yes,
because you see that parents trying to take the children, but the children, they're dead. So the parents are just running maybe with the children.
Oh gosh, don't.
Yeah, so it's like a proper war scene. It's no...
it's horrible.
No filters while she's doing that. But other thing that I found really interesting in this scene is the Satan can use shadows as a ropes.
Yeah. What can these shadows not do? Right, so he's got like a shadow lasso.
Yeah.
He's got a shield shadow. He's got basically like a hand, because he can pick up... She dropped a pen, didn't she? And
then he can get kind of like a cloud or something, so it gets all dark.
He can hear what's going on. It's literally the most powerful signet, surely.
I was wondering, like, how he can hear the stuff with the shadows. It's like he literally can hear what the shadows hear, and
No,
the
I don't
shadow comes to
actually.
him, and
I
then,
don't
like,
actually think the shadows can hear things. I think read Iron Flame.
okay.
I think he's lying about that. But he said he's never lied. I don't know. I don't
I mean, he
think that's...
said the shadows are everywhere, and he knows everything because of that.
I know he
So-
said that, but I think read Iron Flame and then we can have this conversation. So the shadows, a few things just about his shadows. There's a couple of things where... So Andana says again in this chapter, everything needs to be in balance. Nature likes a balance.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes back to me thinking Violet is not lightning, it's light, because he's shadow, she's light, and then you've got everything in balance.
Yes.
The other thing is the epigraph, and it didn't take me that long to get back to the epigraph. The epigraph mentions in the land beyond the shadows a wyvern that dined on the souls of children.
Mm-hmm.
So the land beyond the shadows does that mean that it's... well, I think there's definitely a link to Xaden there because of the shadows. But is there a point where Violet goes beyond the shadows and Xaden can't help her because she's beyond the reach of the shadows? That's
Maybe
just
that's something that we see eventually happening.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like maybe that epigraph is a bit of a hint to what could happen in the rest of the series.
Yes. Interesting. Okay, so more stuff going on here. One of the builders, there's a Lian family crest. And I was wondering, like, what they do, or what is the...
I got a theory about this. So, it is explosive. They are next to a mine.
Yes.
I think Liam's family, I think the Mari family, obviously the mother was in the Navarian military. I think
Yeah.
the father owned
the mines.
the mines,
Oh, he was the one
at least
in charge to make
supplying
the mines.
supplying the explosives for the mine. And I think that's possibly why he got... So he knew that was there.
Yeah.
And I do think they were quite a wealthy family.
Yes, I was thinking exactly the same as well. If they had a crest and there was like explosive to supply to the miners, they had to be really important family. And if they were taken by the Duke Lindell as well, I think that maybe that has to be a connection as well, because they're between families or rich people
Yeah.
or powerful people, they know each other as well.
So I'm going to take the theory a bit further. Liam's dad was in charge of the mine. The family crest is on the box of explosives because that is what they use to mine. Go right back to chapter 1 or 2, where it's 2, I think, when she crosses the parapet. She is saying things to calm herself down. We learn at that point that Poor Emil has unique crystalline gems capable of amplifying minor magics. That is what they are mining. It's got to be. And that was dropped in chapter 2. Those crystalline gems that are capable of amplifying minor magics will 100% come back. And I just like the little story. It doesn't really matter at this stage. We don't have any reason why it would matter that the Mari family owned the mine and they were mining these unique crystalline gems. But I just really like that idea that that's what they're doing.
Yeah. But I like this because, we mentioned a couple of times that Rebecca Yarros don't do anything by mistake or anything randomly. There's a purpose for everything, even for these little stories that Violet's telling to herself to calm down. That's a goal for every single sentence or for every single word.
Yeah. I also think that... So I saw a clip of her Australian tour the other day, and she said there's several things at the end of Fourth Wing or in Fourth Wing that haven't come back in Iron Flame, but they will come back again. I think this is one of them, perhaps the Mari family crest. Also, the little figures, the carvings that Liam makes, the dragons, they're going to come back. And I don't know if there's something about them being capable of amplifying minor magic or something, but the whole thing links together. And I think Liam's family is quite an important family. Who has a crest if they're not important?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a family crest.
Say.
Should we make a Ramirez family crest?
Yeah, definitely. Need to do it. But it's so many things about Liam family and Liam as well. I was really impressed when I started reading what he was able to do. There's a scene when he is running through Dane's spine, and then he goes to the tail, they catapult him, and then he lands straight away in the wyvern, and then he just
slits his throat.
Yes. And then they just rescue him. So it's an amazing teamwork.
He's like an assassin, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like a ninja, basically. Yeah. So that was like the reason why Satan brings Liam with him, not just to
protect Violet. But I still am going to come back to Duke Lindell, because I think Duke Lindell has something to do with these assassin skills. Is Duke Lindell an assassin?
Maybe he's the one who's training the assassins.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
training the marked ones.
Yeah, we're still thinking that he is part of the revolution. He was a really important person for Fenrir. So.
Yeah, or at least, or Zayden's mother.
The house.
Yeah, or Zayden's mother. Yeah, it's super impressive. And also, not only is he physically strong, at that point, he has realised that the wyvern fall. So he knows at that point that you must kill is the opposite of a dragon. If the dragon dies, the rider dies. Well, if the venom dies, the wyvern die. So Liam has not only just taken out single-handedly a wyvern, he's figured out that he's essentially telling Violet how to win. Nobody understands him, but...
Yeah, but he was the first one to mention that if the venom are channeling the power related to the wyverns, if you kill their souls, the wyvern will go away.
So he's got some absolutely mad physical skills, but he's also very, very intelligent.
Yes. So for me, when I saw this, it was, he is really good. There's no way that he will die so easily fighting, because he is a really good fighter. How is the only way that you can kill this guy? Well, with a dragon. And is what happens. They can manage to defeat the wyvern he was fighting against with. And it must be horrible. You see that your dragon is getting beaten and you can't do nothing. Yeah,
there's two things, isn't there? Your dragon, who you are totally connected to, you really care about your dragon, so it's like losing but not the dragons are pets, and that, like, 10 would absolutely rip my head off if you heard me say that. But he's losing part of himself, and he knows he's going to die, and he's accepting it. But he has, to be fair, cheated Malak a few times, hasn't he? Because Andana stopped time in the first War Games when Jack Barlow had put a sword through him. And I can't remember. I thought there was another time. But no. Was there another time?
No, I think it was just the time when Jack Barlow stopped him. And that's it.
Yeah.
But you know that after reading this fighting scene when he jumped from there to a wyvern, I was wondering how he can try to do something like that as well, when he see that if he doesn't do anything, he will die anyway. So why not just risk it and just try to jump, even when they're fighting in the air and it's really difficult to land in the wyvern. But
you just would, wouldn't you?
I mean, it's all or nothing. Because if I was, then I will be able to help my dragon and keep my life as well. But if I don't do anything, or if I fail, I will die anyway.
Yeah. So, shall we read what happens?
Yeah.
You've saved my life, and now it's my turn. No matter what you think of me for keeping secrets, we're friends, Violet. Day! I can't do it justice. Liam's scream is raw, breaking at the end. Liam's raw scream shatters my heart, and Tern flares his wings, banking hard to keep from the same gruesome fate. Day! I can't do that. Tern's grief blasts through my body as he streams fire at the wyverns retreating back, and Andana's cry fills my head. Liam's sky blue eyes wide with shock and pain. So sad. Did you see it coming at all?
I was thinking that might happen. I was thinking that something will happen last minute. It will save them. But then when I think it was Tern, the first one to say, it's gone. There's nothing that we can do. You had just minutes. I was like, oh my God. I can't believe that after all the stuff that Liam had been through, he will die in this way.
And he's asking her to look after his sister.
Yes, and trust to Satan as well.
Yeah.
He's dying, and he really cares about Satan even for this moment. But yeah, I had to confess that was brutal. When I was going through all of that, and Violet was like, he was my shadow. He never complained about anything, and he just died because he was trying to save me.
She says, "Thank you, Liam. Thank you for being my shadow. Thank you for being my friend."
Yeah.
And I, reading this is really sad. Listening to the audiobook is harrowing. The narrator, and I must learn her name at some point. The narrator is incredible at this point.
Yeah.
And her voice like cracks and breaks just like it would, and she's really, really good. And it's been my honour. And anybody who's read Fourth Wing or Iron Flame, if you say those words to them, they are almost guaranteed to cry or feel the heartbreak over and over again. Oh, Liam. Liam's gone. Liam, who never complained about being my shadow, never hesitated to help, never bragged about being the best in our year. He died protecting me.
Yeah. And I think in this moment as well is when we start to see a little bit of Satan being properly sad.
Vulnerable.
Yes, because when Violet tells him that Dave is dead, he knows that Liam is just matter of minutes before he could die.
He loses control of his shadows at that point as well. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So it says shadows momentarily whip around him like a blast of menace and sorrow.
Yeah.
So obviously he's just like, his scream and his grief is just like poof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's I think the other scene there was brutal as well. Just when they land, just trying to reach Dave. And there is this description that they is on the floor in a non-natural position. So you can imagine like what kind of position fell in there is, it's completely dead. It's not coming back from this. And the whole scene, just Violet looking for revenge, Tern as well, so angry about it. So it's a lot of feelings in this chapter.
She says at that point she's got to be as strategic as Brennan and as confident as Mira.
Yeah.
And that's where you see actually she is the best of them because she's got each of those things.
Yes.
Is that your...
Yeah, that's my takeaway.
We did that a bit differently, whereas more of a conversation, which is probably better. A couple of things that I think we missed. So Violet is most informed about the Venin because she's read the book. It is mad to me that Xaden hasn't made it his business to learn everything he possibly can about the fight. He was worried, I get it, he's worried that Dane can take memories, or he's worried that he can't trust people at Basgiath. But the fact that he's saying, don't tell me, I don't want to know anymore, you know that that's a risk, feels odd to me because he is fundamental to the revolution.
I think maybe it's because he's in a role as a supplier or provider the weapons. He don't see himself fighting like literally against them.
Wait till Iron Flame. I don't I don't buy it.
think everything changed after this scene because now it's personal. They kill Liam. He's been involved, so you will see more involved.
But he's the son of the leader of the rebellion last time. He is high up. Trust me, he is a fundamental part of the structure of this rebellion. And when he meets Violet on the parapet and he says, I made it my business to know everything about you. But he can't be bothered to pick up a book about Wyvern. Weird. That to me is just a weird thing.
But the other thing is there's no information about it, isn't it? Because even when Violet trying to...
She tells him though, and he's like, let's not borrow tomorrow's trouble. And then she tells, then the flyer at the lake tries to tell him about it too. But he says, stop, I can't know anymore. You know that puts everything at risk. It just doesn't add up to me.
Weird.
The other thing we haven't talked about is the clock tower and the thing that's inside the clock tower that they want. So there is a box, and you mentioned it in your summary of chapter 39, that there's a box there. Somebody put that there. It lured them there. Atos put it there. That's, I'm calling it. Atos put the box in the clock tower, which summoned them. We know that there's particular runes that they get attracted to, or we find that out, sorry, spoiler alert. But they wanted it for some reason.
Yeah.
The rebellion got it. You hear at the end, we're going to find out all about that in a couple of hours or so. Nothing in Iron Flame. Sorry to disappoint you. That is coming back in Onyx Storm.
I hope so, because I was a little bit confused reading this kind of chapters. First, yes, they mentioned this box, and it's like one of the reasons the Venin is going there. So I don't know if that was kind of like something to attract them. So something they want so desperate, that's why 4 of them are going to get this. But then I think it's in chapter 37 when the Venin turns back and is watching Violet. Then she says, no wonder why they call us when once they start to see Violet's power. And the Venin says, I might just cut you in half and see where is this all power coming from. I don't know if I was talking like literally or just figurative.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like at that point it was telling me that they were looking for Violet as well.
Yeah, but she wasn't supposed to go.
Yeah, so I was confused because first place that box, and then when she found out Violet,
Unless they can see the future or something.
Yeah.
Talking about seeing the future, Melgrin can't see them. There's 2 things that could be happening here, and I think it's the second one. But I'm going to say the first one. Coda gave those relics to the children.
Yes.
Is Coda good and Melgrin is bad? Could that happen? Could Coda be aware of the Venin and actually wants to protect those children against Melgrin? So Coda knows that when he channels power to Melgrin, he can see the outcome of a battle. Does Coda
make it on purpose?
Do that on purpose?
Yeah.
Because that's one option. I don't know, because 10 doesn't like Coda, and I feel like 10 has a good judge of character. So that's one theory. 2, the second theory is that actually the protection comes from something else. So the rebellion relic is purely just so people know that they are part of the revolution, or their parents were. The rebellion in their words. And actually the protection comes from something that we learn about in Iron Flame. I don't know which it is. I'd love to think it was Coda. I'd really love to think it's Coda, because what happens if you have a fundamental like disagreement with your dragon? Like, what happens at that point? So I want to believe it's that. And
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Like, what happened if a couple of years when the bond is so strong that you can't live without the other one, but your opinions are completely apart? Can you
Yeah.
just be sneaking and be against the other person in this case? Or
I don't know, and that's such a cool. Like I've never heard that theory from anybody else, but I just think it would be really cool if Coda turns out to be
yeah,
the one who protected them from his own rider. So Xaden has more secrets. Stay alive, and I will tell you everything you need to know.
yes.
So, what other secrets does he have? I know. Well, I don't know all of them because there's bound to be more secrets in Onyx Storm and beyond.
I mean, at the end of chapter 39, it was pretty clear there's so many things that Satan knows and we don't.
Yeah,
So I don't know how it's going to be an Iron Flame, but I will find out.
yeah. You get some sass between Violet and Sigale in this chapter. That was the only other thing I think I wanted to mention. Sigale says you're a far cry from the trembling girl that stood and looked at Parapet. And she said, I approve. And Violet says, I wasn't looking for your approval. And she walks away. And then Sigale gets a bit pissed off and nudges Tern. And Tern just ignores her. So that's the first bit. And then Violet is distracted by, she's worried about Xaden.
Yes.
And she gets distracted and she doesn't notice a threat coming for Tern. So Sigale flies in and saves her and basically looks at her as if to say, it's my job to look after Xaden, your job to look after Tern.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a fight between Violet and Sigale, which I think is quite cool. I think that's it. Other than the fact that we learn that dragons can communicate with griffins and
Yes.
talk to each other. So that's chapter 36. It was an epic one. It probably is the longest chapter, I think.
It's,
One
I
of
don't know if
them.
it's the longest, but definitely the one where more things happen and really brutal things
Yeah,
happen.
and let's have a moment of silence for Liam
Yeah.
Mori.
Yes. It's been an honor.
Yeah. Chapter 37?
Chapter 37. And in this one, got the epigraph as
You're
well.
going to talk about the epigraph.
Yes, so the epigraph is something that I couldn't ignore. So it's, but it was the third brother who commanded the sky to surrender his great power, who finally vanquished his jealous siblings at great and terrible price.
I've talked about this before, haven't I? Chapter 37's epigraph. If
Yes.
that isn't the prophecy that ends the series, I'll eat my hat.
I mean, it's very curious that we're talking here about three brothers, and one of them is the one who can command the sky. Violet is the third one from three siblings. And it's just, come think about, like, another thing that is not related to this. It has to be that
So-
Brennan is the one who is maybe involved as well, and this, that maybe he's the one who's connected to getting
The
all the
jealous
power
and-
from
So-
the earth. Or
Yeah. I don't know. And I did think that it was because there was three siblings, and I thought that, and I also 100% think Brennan is an imposter. Even there's a good reason why he shouldn't be. You just need to read Iron Flame. So another perspective I thought about this, and it's giving Harry Potter vibes, but they could be the descendants of that third brother who
Yes.
commanded the sky. And perhaps Daddy Soaringale's research was something to do with that. And that's why Violet is where she is. So I think how does Mira fit in? There is a reason in Iron Flame why she might in the future be linked to a Griffin flyer. There's like a little offhand comment about somebody who would be just her type, who is a flyer. So there is a link possibly with Mira and Griffins.
yes.
And obviously Brennan, who I don't believe is actually Brennan. could be that jealous sibling. And there is a future where Violet could have to kill
Brennan. Or kill something that will kill Brennan.
So, do you want to hear my totally unhinged theory?
Oh, God.
I have reason to believe that Brennan is not, in fact, alive. Brennan is reanimated in the same way that a wyvern is created. I'm going to go through all the evidence of this once you've read Iron Flame. But then, who was he reanimated by? Was it Venin Nailin? If it was Venin Nailin, Violet may have to kill Nailin. That would, in turn, kill Brennan.
Yeah.
Because the rider dies, the wyvern dies. The creation, the abomination. I'm pretty sure Frankenstein's monster was called an abomination, and that's why I feel like there's this reanimation element. I know it's wacky and I know it's unhinged, but there's something going on there. The question is, 10 talks about Nailin dying. So 10 says, I will not watch another rider die. He doesn't say, I will not lose another rider. So something about a connection being broken between Dragon and Venin, newly created Venin, which we learn about. So fine. But how would Violet having to kill Nailin affect 10? Would it also kill 10? And she stays alive because of Vandana, which in turn would kill Sigale. Would that kill Xaden? Again, read Iron Flame, and then we come back to the conversation. But there's something going on.
Okay. You know, when you were talking about this, I think Nailin, as a human, or as a person, he actually died. So he's not linked to Tern at this point. So actually, Tern is just bound to Violet. It's the only human that Tern has. But I think this is going to be like another situation like Star Wars, when Ben Kenobi tells to Luke, Darth Vader killed your father. And then Luke thinks, yeah, Darth Vader killed my father. And then when Darth Vader said, no, I'm your father.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
I think could be that I'm thinking right now that we might find a master Venin, like the one who is the strongest, or the one who is like
Darth Vader.
Yes, managing everything that's going on.
No, it's not even Darth Vader, is it? It's the other one.
The Emperor.
The
But yeah,
shriveled raisin one.
Yeah, but Darth Vader is more powerful than the Emperor.
Oh.
But another podcast for this.
I don't know.
The thing is, it could be that maybe Nailin, he turned into a Venom. So Nailin as a person is dead.
Yeah.
But now it's a Venom.
Yeah. Again, I think I'm like all the spoilers for Iron Flame. You learn a little bit more about what might happen between a dragon and a rider if one of them turned Venom in Iron Flame. So you like I'm so excited for you to just read Iron Flame. We're not going to do this bonkers 5 chapters at a time. We're just going to read it so we can actually talk openly.
Yes.
And
Yes. Expecting to find out a little bit more about the relationship between Nolan and Brennan. Because for Nolan risk everything to bring Brennan back, it has to be something really special, or it has to be something, I don't know. Why would you risk your life for somebody that maybe you love, or somebody that you own everything?
I might consider risking my life for you.
You might
Consider it. Depends how our children were impacted.
Yeah, but I don't know if
situation.
maybe, like Lian and Seidan. I don't know if is that kind of relationship that if Lian owns the life to Seidan.
No, I think they were in love.
He will do something like that.
I think they were in love.
Or at least Nolan was in love with Brennan to do that.
Back to the epigraph, though. There's something going on there, isn't there? And it smacks of like the Deathly Hallows. It smacks of like a clear reason some foreshadowing for what's going to happen.
Yes, I think exactly the same. This is just telling us a little bit what we're going to find out later on.
Yeah.
Yes. But going back to the beginning of chapter 37, is when we see this Venin is sent turns back. He managed to her turn. Turns out it's the same one who kills Soleil. So Violet must do something. And the first thing that she does is just go out of the saddles. Yeah, saddles.
Saddle, yeah.
To try to fight in this Venin. And she starts to find out that this Venin is just unnatural, the way that they fight. There are more, I don't know if it's just more skills or they actually can prevent or see what's going to happen before it happens. Because in the way that Violet is describing is this Venin can see.
She's adapting as well to her moves.
Yes. So it's just too much for Violet to fight physically. But she managed to defeat her. And before that, it's come to this when the Venin noticed that she is the one who has commanded the lightning. So maybe this Venin is the one who started to say that you are the one who command the sky and you don't even know how to use this power. So I find that really interesting as well.
Yeah.
Because the Venin knows about this, obviously.
Yeah, and she says, again, like you said before, no wonder we were called here. You command the sky. It links back to the epigraph. You'll wish for death if I hand you over. Before that point, I like how Violet is walking across, turns back, and she links right back. So this is right at the end of the book, and then you're taken again back to the first few chapters when she's crossing the parapet.
Yes, this is mentioned. Okay, so this is just like cross the parapet, a flying parapet, moving, and fighting against. I can't remember how she described it. But then the thing that, obviously for me, that I'm like Star Wars fan, start to see here like connections as well. When the Venin say that basically she's a student, they said I don't know if I should kill you or just give it to my, I think called Sagi?
Padawan?
No, Padawan is the Star Wars, but the Venin Master is the Sage. But you know that in the Sith, there's like the opposite of the Jedi's. They have a master and apprentice as well. So I see this connection. So the Venin is like the apprentice, and then they have the master Sith. There's
multiple.
Yes. So everyone.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
I think that's such a cool connection. I hadn't even thought about the Star Wars link because I'm not a Star Wars boffin, but I think you're right about that.
Yeah. But in the Sith, it can be just one and one. Could be just one master, one apprentice. But here it's gonna be multiple masters with each one with a apprentice. So I find that's really cool as well. But we couldn't see much about it because Violet killed it.
This is the bit where she admits she has the power. It literally says it on the page. I have the power of light. Although she has been stabbed with a poisoned blade.
Yes. So not only the wyverns had this poison, the Venin have it as well. And apparently this poison not only affects you physically, mentally, affects you magically as well, because that was one of the first things the Violet says, that she started to losing that connection with Tern and with Satan. Yeah. So I wonder what kind of poison is this one.
Oh, I know. Well, I don't know, but I know. Oh, we need to come back again. Read Iron Flame, and then we can come back to what that poison is. It doesn't say it, but I've got another suspicion.
Yes.
About that.
But yeah, after this scene, we see what Lian was trying to say, because once the Venin is there and more wyverns start to fall, and then it's clear that if they kill the Venins, all the Wyverns will die as well. And then it's when Violet is just asking to Satan to trust her, that she got this, and she's going to just ask to turn to get all his power through her, so she can do what she has to do. And it's just get rid of all the venin.
And Ten is angry, and he says, this is where he says, I will not watch another rider die, because they do not know their own limitations. And I was so firmly in the Nailin is alive, Nailin is venin camp until I read this bit.
Yes.
And he said die. He didn't say lose. And I know we've talked about this already, so we shouldn't go over it again. But there's a couple of things. So she says, I'm not Nailin.
Yeah.
And that to me feels like I don't know.
Well.
I don't know. I haven't thought about it enough yet. Come back to me. Another thing. Something catches fire and Xaden smothers the flames like a fire blanket. So he's also got a fire blanket in his arsenal. Honestly, these shadows are amazing.
I know. It's basically like a Play-Doh. Whatever you can imagine, you can do it.
Yeah, it's like build a signet. You can just anything.
Yes.
Talking about signets. Garrick Tavis and his brown scorpion tail.
Yeah.
I like learning things about Garrick, and we just learned he has a brown scorpion tail. He's like super sensitive to this box in the clock tower, isn't he?
Yes.
And this again is another pointer to me that Garrick's signet is something to do with finding things.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a couple of times when they're trying to look at something, it's always Garrick or the dragon, the one who are like finding it, or they're close to whatever they have to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone commented on one of our reels this week with the most amazing theory I think I've ever read. And I'm not going to talk about it today. I'm going to talk about it possibly during our Iron Flame stuff. And I'm going to give them the full credit they deserve because my mind is blown.
Yeah.
And it's to do with dragons directly channeling their powers and stuff. And that it's just when we were talking about Garrick, it's just triggered it. And I know it's not helpful for listeners, but it's not the right time to share this theory. But if you are interested, you can go to read the comments on our reels because I can't even remember which one it is that it was on.
Yes, one of them.
It's one of them. And
helpful,
this person has like blown my mind.
Okay. Right. And obviously I couldn't read it until I'm going through all
I know, you're banned from reading comments.
Okay, so just another day.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else that you want to
Well,
say about this?
Andana stops time again. And she reaches just for the amount that she needs. And then that's a link back saying, I won't take too much, I won't take too much. I think she's taking too much. And she basically manipulates. So she stops time. The lightning is coming down. And she manipulates it and twists it towards the Venin's head, which I think is really cool. Yeah. She says she'd make her mother proud because she's filled with vengeance and coldness. I don't think her mother is that cold. And again, we get some shadow lassos where he wraps the shadows around the Venin's neck, pulls him downwards,
and then
straight into the dagger. That's going to be pretty epic.
Yes, that's going to be really good once you go to the TV series.
Yeah, and Xaden is described as being beautifully lethal. That's interesting. Right, yeah,
yes.
Chapter 37 done.
Okay, jumping straight to chapter 38.
Yeah.
Okay, so chapter 38, as you mentioned, Violet is falling and there's no time to get her. She managed to delay the time, but she's just falling and Xaden grab her. Then they realize she's been poisoned they start to see the blood is black, I think they mentioned. And then you start to see something I think you haven't seen it before. There's Imogen is crying about it. She is really worried about her, because in the beginning it was that relationship was just Imogen following orders from Satan.
Yeah.
So,
she doesn't want to admit it, but she's friends.
yes, so she obviously at this point she can't deny that she cares about Violet. And everyone is concerned about her, and at the same time they're very grateful, because I think I can't remember who was the one who said it. I think maybe it was Body, or Gary. They were like, "Have you seen what she done?" And they're like, "Oh, shut up! There's no time for that. She needs our help right now." And the first thing that comes to the mind is, we need to take her to Basquiat. Nolan can help her, because Nolan is a healer, isn't it? It's not a mender, it's a healer. So I think this giving the idea to Satan, okay, she needs somebody that can help, that can restore to what she was before. So he said, okay, we can't go to Basquiat because it's going to be 12 hours. She doesn't have 12 hours. We need to do something now. So he said, I know a place or someone that can help. And there's just, I think maybe a random scene of it when Violet is waking up.
Yeah.
And then she's like just describing what she can see. And then she said that we just passing the cliffs of Dry Lord. And Violet is dying. But at the same time, she's finally like, she's thinking that that's the right thing, that she should die because
It's her fault.
Yeah, she failed some people. She failed to Leon. But she's still coming up and down a couple of times. Then I think there's a point when Taryn is like growling, saying something, and then I think it's when Satan said, "Dave, what does it
Cook
mean?"
me alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone is thinking that this is such a bad idea, but I don't know exactly what I mean. I think maybe they think that, okay, if they manage to save Violet, once she knows everything, it's going to be Violet the one who is going to tattoo everyone, like Mami or all the generals or the rest of the people,
Yeah.
what's going on. I think by this point they should know that Violet is on their side, that she won't do something like that. They're gonna be fighting with them. She is one of the gun by this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think it's Violet. She heard a familiar voice, and Satan is the one who says, "You need to save her. Leon is dead." So I think at this point we can have some clues who is gonna be there, because Violet said that
She recognizes the
she
voice.
recognizes the voice, but she can't put it in the face like who could be, but it's a voice that I
Because you
know.
just wouldn't expect to hear your brother after you think he's dead.
Yes.
Yeah. So, the first part of the chapter, the epigraph, I don't think is important, but there was a bit of me that felt like that could be Violet's dad, because so it says, when you come across a poison you don't recognise, best to use every antidote. Either way, the patient will die, but at least you will learn something. Although it is for a modern guide for healers, doesn't necessarily have to be written by a healer, could be written by a scribe. But I don't know, he's not my front runner for who is Violet's dad. I think it might be the one who wrote the guide to the scribe quadrant, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the chapter starts with, "I think I might die today," and she spent the whole book saying, "I will not die today," and you can just show how defeated she is, and she's not just defeated physically, she's defeated emotionally because Liam's gone, and she blames herself for that. So I think that's a really sad opening to the chapter. She's not grounded. She can't feel her feet on the archives floor. It just shows how she's cut off from her power. That's the effect of the poison. The poison is breaking the link between her and her dragon. and she can no longer feel the archive's floor, so she doesn't feel that gravity that she needs to keep her alive. And Dana has stopped time again, and she's catching. I didn't catch this the first time I read it, or even maybe the second time. I don't know if so much happens in these group of chapters but I couldn't picture that, and now I can picture it quite clearly how Andana's swooped underneath her, but she's too small, which is like, how do they grow so big when the babies are tiny? Anyway, but she can't. Violet's like in and out of consciousness, and Dana can't keep her up.
She's basically slowing down the fall.
Yeah,
she can't
she's falling too, and Dana's falling too. Yeah. And she makes reference again, what poison could paralyse me not only physically but magically. Again, let's come back to that at the end of Iron Flame. She annoys me a bit here. She's still talking about how Xaden only wants her alive because if she dies, he dies. Yeah. Oh God.
The only
like
reason.
Snore. Just get over it, Violet. It's not true. He's proved it. Although yes, he might not have told you the truth.
No, but
the truth.
he cares about her. He doesn't give a shit about if she dies, then he will die as well.
No,
he might think that
cares.
he will die anyway, regardless of the bond, but because loves her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some weird stuff going on between Imogen and Garrick in this chapter. I think they're torn. I think Imogen's torn because perhaps Garrick says something, she then says something. There's a connection between Garrick and Imogen. First of all, Garrick says, you'll put everything at risk. And then, like, Xaden is like, I don't care what happens to me. He gets really pissed with Garrick. And then when they arrive at there, she hears Imogen say something like, are you sure? And then Garrick says, stop asking him that. Or maybe it was Bodhi, one of them. And there's a bit of a like flip-flopping. They're stressed, aren't they? Because they can't work out what to do. And the irony that she'll die by poison when she's really good at that.
Yeah.
Or she thinks she will be. I'm going to make another height reference.
Okay.
1,000-foot drop on the cliffs of Draelor.
Yeah.
1,000 foot.
1,000 foot. That's just
That's
a
insane.
big one.
Yeah. And I'm going to come back to that in Iron Flame as well. Can we do a tally of how many times I say read Iron Flame, and we'll come back to it in this episode, because I sound like a broken record. That's it. That's me for chapter 38.
Yeah, cool. Should we go to chapter 39? Last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one. I love the epigraph as well. Even when it's so short. It's literally, you are all cowards. The last words of Fenn Ryerson.
Most importantly, redacted. Who redacted it? What else did he say? Definitely Markham.
Yes.
Colonel Markham redacted it. Did he redact it from Daddy Soaringale's notes? Because you know that I'm convinced that Daddy Soaringale was there in the interrogation. He didn't die in the interrogation room. I don't think he did. He died by dragonfire, didn't he?
Yes.
But you're all cowards. And then it was redacted, whatever else he was saying. Who heard it? Who else heard it?
Yeah.
What was he saying?
That's a good question. Hopefully we find out more details.
Well, he was obviously saying, banana reel, why banana reel, all this. But something else. He must have said something else.
Yeah. So this one is interesting as well, because now this one is Xaden's point of view. And then finally we start to see maybe a little bit more what's going on in Xaden's mind.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that you start to see is maybe this connection between Xaden and Sagel. Because one of the first sentences that you see in this chapter is Sagel telling her, like, she'll be alright. Like, don't worry, she'll be okay. And she was apparently really gentle. I think there's no usual on her, but I think maybe it's not usual for her seeing him so worried about somebody as well.
Imagine what she's going through at this moment. Xaden's freaking out. Ten is freaking out. And Andana's virtually unconscious.
Yeah.
So she's got a lot going on, Sagale. And
She's
I think,
like the rock.
yeah,
and the
it
brook.
shows, but it shows you, like, when I've got a lot going on, I'm probably more like Segale on a normal day. Whereas she chooses gentleness and kindness, so she's got it in her. And that does show a new side of Segale.
Yes. So, yeah. But, however, Satan is like, he's not allowed to be patronized. I don't know if it's patronized. It's just that he knows that he can handle it. That he's not, even he said, he's not somebody he needs cuddling. That's not the reason that Segale chose him. And then as well, we found out as well the last rider that Segale has was Satan's grandfather. So that's gonna be something interesting for you to put as well in Satan's family tree.
Yeah.
Who was the rider of Segale before him?
So there's stuff that you find out again, an Iron Flame. I need you to read it.
I think you mentioned that before. I'm not sure.
So, yeah, I have theories. I have a notebook of family tree options that I will talk about
Yes.
when you have read Iron Flame.
Yes.
And there's something going on with Bodhi,
Yeah.
and there is something going on with Zayden's mom.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's come back to it. But she chose him for the scars on his back and the simple fact that he is the grandson of her second rider, the one who didn't make it through the quadrant.
Yes.
So his granddad didn't
survive.
the quadrant.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see as well, like how he died.
And does that mean she's had 3 riders then? So he was the second
during
one?
her whole life, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird because she is, how many years is she? Like 400 years old or something like that?
No,
Or-
10's 100, so...
Is it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was confused with something else. But yeah, I remember that she's like 50 years younger than 10. So
She'll be
she
50 then.
50 then.
So she's had 3 riders in 50 years.
50 years.
Maybe, because she didn't have him for long, did she?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, this episode is when this chapter is when you start to see a little bit more how much cared Satan about Violet, and it's not just because they're born. If she die, he'll die. It's because he loves her, and it's constantly passing in her mind that he has so many options or so many opportunities to tell her that he loves her, but he didn't just because it wasn't the right time, wasn't the right moment.
He couldn't tell her, not because she was Lilith's daughter, not because she kept giving Dane second and third chances, but because he couldn't tell her without being completely honest with her about all his secrets.
Yeah.
So he's got so many secrets, he can't tell her he loves her.
Until he feels that he is open with her as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Because she has been telling him everything, like everything passed through her mind. He knows about it. But he is been carrying so many secrets that like he can't tell her that he loves her because it will feel that he's lying because he's not being completely honest with her. So that's the thing that I understand. But then you start to see like how he described the situation. When he said that my lungs only feel when hurt do. That she never looked fragile to me, but she does now. And this like maybe the first time in the whole book when he actually see her as a fragile.
Yeah, and Dane's seen her as fragile the whole time. Yeah.
Yes. So it was quite, I think, nice to see a little bit how Satan's mind works and how he's feeling about all of this, how guilty he feels about how Colonel Atos punish Violet just because all the study he was doing and she didn't have a clue.
Feels guilt for Liam.
Yes. So
But
yes.
on that point, he says, I ordered my foster brother to keep her safe and that order got him killed. It didn't. The friendship that he formed with Violet is what made him give his life for her, not because his foster brother told him to.
Yeah, I think when they started this journey, Violet was thinking as well that he's just with me because Satan ordered him to protect me. And he make it clear, no, I'm here because I'm good.
Yeah.
And if I risked the life for her was because he did for him. He saved his life, so he feel that he owned it as well.
Yeah.
So he gave his life for her. And this is the side that I said I need to carry as well. We turn completely telling all the time, you have told her about the Venin. I'm waiting for you to impart the information. Now she's suffering. So
Yeah, they must
keep
have
it
had
up.
some, like, Tern wanted to tell her.
Yeah.
They must have had some deal where he was letting Zayden
It
tell
will
him.
be when he thought maybe it was the right time to tell him because then I will assume it. That it wasn't the right time for her to know
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
definitely about Dane.
Yes. But he is being there all the time. I think at some point even he said that he even went to Leon's funeral just because he just wanted to stay with her.
Yeah.
And he's thinking about everything. He's thinking about one, he haven't sleep because every time when he sleep, he just remember how she screamed like he called him traitor, how she was suffering and everything because of him. And I think it's just you can feel like how much pressure is have. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we start to see as well that he's thinking when was like the exact moment when he fall for her, and it's been for multiple options when he watches Conquer the Gauntlet, or when Defender and Darna the Threshing, when Smile after mastering the shield after mere minutes. So there's so many things that he said that she's just so amazing.
I want to read this bit. Can I read this bit? Because
Yeah.
it's like, it's so good. She can't die, and not just because there's a chance that I won't survive. She can't die because I know I can't live without her, even if I do. Somewhere between the shock of our attraction at the top of the turret to realising she risked her own life by giving up a boot for someone else on the parapet that first day, to her throwing daggers at my head under the oak tree, I wavered. So he fell first, right at the beginning. I should have realised the danger of getting too close to her the first time I put her on her back and showed her how easily she could kill me on the mat, a vulnerability I have allowed no one else, but I brushed it off as undeniable attraction to a uniquely beautiful woman. When I watched her conquer the gauntlet, then defend Andana at threshing, I stumbled, stunned by both her cunning and her sense of humour. When I burst into that room and found Oren's treacherous hand at her throat, the rage that made it so easy to kill all 6 of them without batting an eye should have told me I was headed for a cliff. And when she smiled at me after mastering her shield in mere minutes, her face lighting up as the snow fell around us, I fucking fell. We hadn't even kissed, and I fell. So I love the bit where she's saying, he wavered, I stumbled, I fell. And it's like a
Yes.
progressive falling.
Exactly.
Rebecca Yaros writes romance so well.
Yeah. I mean, you can see in this is saying that he's just thinking about like all the good moments and how much he cares about her.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the biggest regret is that he never told her, that he never said it to her that he loves her, and of course he loves her. It's just that he was just looking for the right moment to say it, but never was the right moment. But there was always something. Until she finally is awake, and then the first thing that he thinks that is going to happen is that maybe she's gonna be pissed with him, but no, she's not. She's smiling and she's happy to see him. And he's even thinking maybe she lost the memory because that poison was the poison was a long time in the system, but now she remembers everything. It's just that she's generally happy to see him. And when he's checking like everything, because before it was all black basically, and now it's all fine. She's been completely healed. So I think maybe that would be like one of the first thing that you can have, that she'd been amended. But we don't see that coming, I guess.
No.
Yes. And I think in this moment is when you start to see the Violet start to question everything that she knows, because she was pretty much like a scribe. And then when she starts to see the place where they are, she recognizes this Arethia, but then she starts to see like she doesn't know anything. The only stuff that she knows is about what the scribes tell, but then she starts to realize that the scribes are just telling the story that they want to the people believe, not the truth. And what else? So they have some talking. She is like pretty clear that they're gonna fight together, but she's not going to trust her anymore, because he gave her like so many opportunities for him to be honest with her, and never happened. So she will be fighting, but she won't trust him anymore.
At this point, he regrets not telling her, not just because he's fucked it up, but also because he knows that she would have been better prepared. He says that she would have schooled them on how to beat them.
Yeah, they would have like a proper plan to defeat Wyverns and Venin.
Yeah.
From all the folklore to reality.
Yeah. At this point as well, he gives her a carving of Andana that Liam had done.
Yeah.
Again, I really think that's going to come back, but I want to take you back again to, there was an epigraph. I don't even remember which chapter it was, but it said, "Those who don't burn for Malek
will burn by Malek.
Will get burned by Malek." And this is another example where things that
they're supposed to be burned with their owner
were kept, and that's why. So either they're going to come back as a protective thing that Liam had done for people, or, but then again, they're not actually his possessions anymore if they're a gift to someone, are they?
Yes.
You can't burn everything that you were ever given by somebody when they die.
Yeah. But yeah, that's another thing there. I don't know if those little figures have like a proper goal or purpose.
They do.
Lian is
100%
doing.
do.
Yeah.
Again, they're one of the things that I just think comes back.
Yeah,
and
it's not going to be just simple decoration, is it?
Yeah. And talking about that, this is where we get there. You figure out what the box was that Crod, who was Garrick's dragon, was drawn to back at Resson. This is where Crod is super sensitive to runes and he can find them. So that's why I think maybe Crod is channeling his power directly to Garrick. Anyway, that's what I said before.
Yes.
Small iron box beneath the rubble of the clock tower. They're working on it and hoping to have an answer in the next couple of hours.
Never happened.
Not yet, but it's one of those things that's going to come back.
Still there, yes.
Yeah.
Not been resolved.
Yeah, something else that's going to come back.
Yes. I think it's going to be one of those situations that we're going to forget about this, and there's going to be a massive messed up or something really bad is happening, and maybe this box is going to be the answer.
Something that is going to come back that you might not have noticed. Serena is alive, and so is her sister.
Yes.
They're going to be quite a big part of Iron.
An aeroplane.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then the final scene of this chapter, when the Satan room, he's basically trying to promise. Well, I think before he goes to the room, is Body the one who said he will bring the backup in case they may be talking with Violet, something goes wrong. So they had like Plan B.
Backup is Brenna.
Yeah, Plan B, Plan Brennan. But Satan is trying to convince him that what he feels for her is real. That even when he was hiding so many things, he never lied. Yeah, I give it that. He wasn't lying. He was just hiding stuff.
Yeah, but I never lied to her. So we can look back at everything he ever said as being true. That's he's said to himself, I've never lied to her, unless he's like tricked himself. But that gives us the confirmation that everything Xaden has said has been true.
Yes.
So when you've thought he said something that could have been a lie, it's true. And that reads really differently when you do a second read through.
Yeah.
Because all the things he said are absolutely true.
Yeah, exactly. And then here's when we start to see the interruption. Somebody's knocking the door and multiple times. And then it's when you hear Satan saying, knocking us out, we had you like 20 seconds. So you can start to see already how much Seda knows Brennan.
Or
Exactly.
he thinks he knows Brennan.
Well, I mean,
Imposter Brennan.
I don't know how long they've been together because, well, like maybe 2 or 3 years since the apostasy when it happened.
6 years.
6 years, isn't it? Yeah, well, 3 years Satan has been in Belgium, but the year before that, I don't know if Brennan had access to
Duke Lindell.
or Duke Lindell, like access to them. So
Duke
there's going to be
Lindell again.
another connection
Yeah.
to find out. But yeah, you see there's something that she need to know. And then
Of all the questions, that's the one she chooses.
yeah.
Really annoys me. Do you think we just happened to end up in the middle of a wyvern attack at that outpost?
Yes. And then there's Brennan, the one who said definitely wasn't
An accident.
an
little
accident.
sister.
Yes.
Welcome to the revolution.
Chun 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 chun.
Right, I've got a few more things. Sorry.
Okay.
We get several references to Violet's hair in this chapter. He says something like, I can't get enough of it. The ends of her hair look duller than their usual blade-like hue. He's obsessed with her hair. I
Yes.
can't even articulate what it is about the strands that make me want to do naughty things. Is it the first time we learn that Violet has hazel eyes? I think it is, because you don't
Yeah.
see her from her perspective. But I don't know why, but that surprised me. I didn't expect her to have hazel eyes.
Yes. I was well, I think maybe it's because there's so many pictures about Satan and Violet, and you always see Violet with blue eyes or green eyes. And then when they mention this hazel eyes, like, oh.
Maybe that's why I was surprised, because
Yes,
it's not normally
because
the
already they
fan
sell you already.
art.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And Dana isn't quite the same, but she's her.
Yes, she is fucking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe just because she overdue, because she stopped time twice, like really long times in comparison with the previous times. So, yeah, that might be one of the reasons that she grows so fast.
Good guess.
Yeah, can find out. I can't wait to find out which color she's gonna be.
Yeah. Do you think it's fair that Xaden says you can know whatever you like, just ask? Do you think it's fair that he's saying that, or do you think he should just tell her stuff?
Well, she can just ask, tell me what I don't know. Because obviously, if you don't know what you don't know, how can you ask?
So there's a theory that I love about Violet being a truth sayer. So she asks a question and someone tells you the truth.
Yeah.
So she can tell the truth. And there's also a theory that Xaden knows that and has figured it out by now, because several reasons. Read Iron Flame and welcome back to the chat. But there's one that I can talk to you about.
Yes.
Is that he noticed the lightning on that day.
Yes, when they were kissing the first
And
time.
perhaps she's asked him questions and he's like I don't know, she's not properly channeling yet though, is she? And Dana.
Yeah, that's the
she's
thing I
channeling.
was about to say. If Andare not channeling yet, then There's no.
No,
segment.
but maybe there's a suspicion. But it talks to the fact that she's she needs the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So that type of signet would fit really well with her. And there's like Xaden could know about it, and that's why he's saying, well, you just ask me what you want to know and I'll tell you, because he's got no choice. He has to, because but I don't think Andana's channeling yet. She's growing.
Yes.
So, but you never know. The power's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really matter. It just shows that Violet is the kind of person that needs to know the truth.
Yes.
And that is a reason why you might have a signet. Dragon ass probably smells really gross. Well, that's what Xaden smells like. So I liked the line where it says, before the apostasy, or succession, as the Navarians call Dad's rebellion. Funny how people rename everything that makes them uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
He renamed Violet to Violence.
Yeah.
So obviously that I
uncomfortable.
think is a link back to the fact that he's renamed something that makes him feel uncomfortable. Violet makes him feel uncomfortable because he was falling for her. I quite liked that. Violet's upset that she's not upset that he kept the secrets from her, because she understands why he did it. What she's upset with is how easy he found it. But she doesn't know he found it easy. It's a bit of a weird one.
To be honest.
Yeah. And then we get a mention of his mum. Very, very briefly. He said, I've forgotten what it feels like to be loved. And then he said, Mum, not going there. So he didn't even let himself think about his mum.
Yeah.
So there's definitely something about his mum. That seed's been planted. We get a little bit more in Iron Flame, but not a lot at all. So mum's coming back at some point.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then the last line that I really like in that chapter, not the last line of the chapter, but he said, you gave me my heart. You gave me your heart and I'm keeping it. And that like fits with Rebecca Yarrow's kind of saying that these two are end game. Whether that means they both survive is a totally different thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have for chapter 39. I just wanted to ask you, now that obviously we've got the Xaden point of view chapters for the next episode, but now you've finished the book, and we'll in the point of view chapters, we'll finish that and we'll do a full wrap up. Mm-hmm. How many stars out of 5 do you rate Fourth Wing?
I mean, I will honestly give it between 4 and 5.
4.5.
4.5 maybe.
What would give it that extra half a star?
More realism and certain things, like for the dragons. For me, that was like one of the things that struggled the most. I had to like really recite it in my mind to make it make sense. Then the stuff when she's describing like how hard is the stuff, like it's just like the stuff in the way that she's describing it just doesn't fit. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that I will put against this.
Yeah, and
it doesn't make it like perfect.
You did have a bit of a problem with the fact that the War College was killing off its cadets as well.
Yes,
I see it. I get it.
That kind of thing that if you're trying to put it on real thing, it's not practical.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I understand that you want to make
4.5 stars is a pretty decent score. It's a very decent score. So I give it 5 stars because the way that I rate things is I could give a book 3 stars that was written the same, and then you could find some plot holes, but I am still thinking about it. I'm still talking about it. I want to know what happens in the next 3. I'm speculating. I'm like fully wrapped into it.
Making a podcast about it.
Yeah, exactly. And then it could be a 4. It's basically a 4-star book that's it sounds dramatic, but it's changed the way you think about things. Or it's like, so I get it. I get why you've knocked off half a star for that, but the fact that it's just still with me and I just love it makes it a 5 stars.
What is
for me.
the story, like the plot, the characters, how it's being written is really good. It's excellent. But for me, 5 stars, it has to be perfect. There's nothing that I can say like pointing out or something. And there's a few things that are like, If you see in the previous episodes, I was struggling with a couple of things.
Yeah.
That's the thing that
so
doesn't make it perfect for me.
it's so interesting how we rate it, because a 5-star for me doesn't have to be perfect. Just has to have changed.
Make you feel something.
It makes me into falling in a rabbit hole. I say it could be terribly written. It's not, because I think Rebecca Yarros is an excellent writer, and I'm actually reading something else by her at the moment. And it could be something that is not tremendously well written, but I become obsessed with it. And there's a few books that I would give 5 stars to in that category.
Yes.
This is one of the Sarah J. Maas books, Court of Mist and Fury. I wouldn't rate it 5 stars, but I just loved it. I don't think, it's interesting that we rate things a bit differently.
way,
Like for you, 5 stars has to be perfect. For me, 5 stars doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to have
make you feel something.
Totally knocked me out with how insane it is. Okay, I think that's a wrap.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yes.
on Fourth Wing. Well, we'll do the point of view chapters next week and get your full lowdown, and then we'll start Iron Flame. But you are going to read that front to back.
That's going to be a massive difference now.
Yeah.
Then we're going to be all reading, knowing what everyone
We'll take
knows.
a couple of weeks break, I think, to do that, and then
Yes.
come back all guns blazing, because we want to be speculating about Onyx Storm.
Yes, definitely. So, if you make it to this point, thank you very much. And again, thank you for listening Faithfully Fantasy.
The Husband and Wife podcast, covering all things Fourth Wing.
Yes. If you're not following us already, we have our social media where we have theories, fun stuff. Just remember there's Faithfully Fantasy Pod. You can find it there. And you can comment, you can join us and all our stuff as well.
Yeah, we share theories and clips from the show and other fun things. You can visit www.faithfullyfantasy.com to learn more about us. And we have some great things in the pipeline, which will be coming to the website soon.
We really hope that you can enjoy this episode. We're coming back next week with more.
As we get into Zayden's head.
Oh yeah, can't wait to that.